welcome to another episode of the Still Bones Amputee Pod. Today is a brilliant one, I think, whether you are an amputee or not, all about some confidence building. And I'm here with the wonderful Maria. Maria, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name's Maria Varallo, and I'm what am I, Vicki? A freelance coach and trainer, and also I work for a wonderful organisation called Lifecraft Cambridge and Peterborough.
Amazing. So would you be able to tell us how you got into working as a coach? What sparked it all off?
Many years ago, I came back to the UK from Southeast Asia, where I was teaching English for 5 years. I loved teaching English. Loved it, loved the kids. Came back, was a bit lost, and saw the offer of a career development loan. And back then there was a brilliant offer from the government where you could borrow money for education with no interest. Why aren't they doing that now?
That sounds great.
It was brilliant. So I took a career development out and I went and did social work. I thought if I get a postgrad dip in social work, I will never be unemployed. And how right. I did social work for a couple of years and just thought, nope, this is not right. And that was, God knows how long, 20, 30 years ago, social work was struggling then. So respect to any social workers out there. Tough job. But while I was working as social worker, I got an offer of a couple of free coaching sessions because somebody was learning. And I thought, what is this? This is strange. It's not counselling or therapy. I'll give it a go. And it was a bit, I mean, looking back, she was wonderful, but of course she was trying the questioning. Anyway, I just thought, I can do that. I know where this is going. I'm going to do that. So I looked out for a course and there was only 2 available in the UK then. This was 2006. And it was Oxford Brookes or Barefoot Coaching in Derby. And I chose the Barefoot Coaching, did a postgrad, another one certificate in personal business coaching. Absolutely loved it. And that got me into coaching. And then about 2007, 2008, I met a woman called Sam Greenlee, and she had set up a networking group or an exhibition of networking. And she had just qualified as a coach, and we were both interested in the potential of working with people who weren't executives, weren't working in corporate, everyday people, and the power of change and coaching back in 2007. And we just hit it off. And she was amazing. And she had skills and strengths that I didn't have, and vice versa. She was very business savvy, and I was just all about people. It just worked. It really connected. And then we set up Illuminate, a charity, and we did that for 15 years together.
Amazing. And that's how I met you, through Illuminate.
That's right.
Yeah, you did a course through Still Bones in Cambridge on, confidence building and, finding your way and things. So, that's how we met.
Yes, lovely.
Brilliant. I loved it. Are there any favourite techniques that you use during your coaching? Does the same approach work for everyone, or
it doesn't work for everyone? And that's one of the what's the word, that's when you get comfortable with a technique, it's time to move on. You've got to offer a range, because everybody is so different, their context is so different, their situation. So it's keeping up. This is the importance of supervision and my training, to keep that all fresh. I suppose the big thing that a lot of people are aware of now, but wasn't back then, is values. So most coaches will start with values. What's really, really important to you, because this drives you and motivates you. And that's a good one to start with. And just also a way of getting to know somebody really well. So they share their view of the world through talking about their values and what's important to them. I also love, and of course I work online and in person. So there's different techniques for each. But there's an NLP exercise, which is really powerful, and that's perceptual positions. Really good for in person. We've never done that.
No, I was going to say, I don't even know what that is. That sounds really interesting.
Well, it's a really good exercise to gain a view of somebody else, getting in the shoes of somebody else. So, for example, if you and I were having issues and I was going, oh my God, that woman, Vicky, driving me nuts. She sees me. I know she thinks of me like this. I know she just thinks, and I come out with these big assumptions.
Yeah.
Our coach, my coach could say, Maria, get it off your chest. So I would share exactly how I see the world, talking about Vicky and our situation.
Yeah.
Then I would move across the room and get into the shoes of being Vicky.
Okay.
So that would also, we'd move across the room to a different position. And I would ask, the coach would ask, tell me about Vicky. You know, what does she wear? What's her hair like? Her mannerisms? Sort of really start getting into and thinking, what's Vicky like? She makes me laugh. She does this. She also drives me nuts and does this, get it all off. So I'm now Vicky.
Okay.
How do you think Vicky views this situation or this scenario?
Okay.
Share it. And then the final position, there's 3 positions, is to actually become the observer. So then you're moved. I mean, I know you can't see it, this room is perfect. We'd go across the room and then we'd go outside.
Okay.
Look through the window at the 2 positions that I was in. And as an observer, how would you view what's happening here?
Yeah.
Of course, it's not always possible to go and look through the window or the door window. You move across the room again, but getting far away as possible to be an observer, or a facilitator, and to look in and just think what is going on there. Wow. And I've done that myself several times over the years, and it's been really, really helpful.
Yeah, and that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Like to physically move yourself as well, to completely flip it on its head. It really makes you kind of think on another level, doesn't it? Rather than just going, oh, they're probably just having a bad day. Like you really embody it and
that's right.
Work out. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
going to try as much as possible to get into somebody else's shoes. Yeah. Really good. Online, just to balance that, online, there is a really again, this is far more powerful in person, but you can do a timeline. Which can be helpful, especially for people who are changing careers or got a job interview. And the timeline can be just, let's go back the last couple of years and we're going to look at your achievements, your learning, skills, qualities, strengths. And sometimes I avoid using the word skills because for some people that's like, oh my God, I don't have any skills. I just run an organisation. That's not skillful. Okay, let's break that down. But it can be helpful in person. You can actually move again, get up and walk the timeline and walk back to the current day. And then you can look back and take all that you've achieved and all those skills and qualities, and we can then take them into the future physically. When it's online, I use a large piece of paper and we'll ask the client to draw a line across that. So we're going back to the last 2 years. In your current role, what did you achieve? Skills and learning. It's really good for homework as well. They can complete that on their own. But timelines are good to do. You can manage that online.
That's one that you've told me about before.
Have I?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, told me that about a little while ago, which I did do. And it is really good to write it all down because you forget things.
Absolutely.
You just keep going and you think, oh, actually, no, I did do that.
Yeah.
That was really good. I'd forgotten about that bit of training, or I need to add that in here, or it's really good as a reminder as well, which is nice.
It is. And I also say, top tip is to keep a journal, and not a daily journal. You don't have to do that. It works for some people, but I do it once a week on a Friday while you're doing tools down, reviewing the week. Just a 2-minute update of what have you achieved that week.
Yeah.
What have you done? Because often in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, when you're looking for another job or a promotion comes up, you have forgotten or dismissed or thought, oh, everybody does that. Oh, everybody runs meetings or chairs meetings. You've forgotten or dismissed. And it's really good to look back in some kind of diary or journal, what you've actually achieved, and taking that skill strength.
Yeah, amazing. When you're working with people, are there any specific themes that you've noticed that are recurring? Anything that comes up over and over?
I think in the last 3-4 years, the most common thing, especially since COVID was the big one, and hybrid working or working from home. Oh my, and that's still going on. Is boundaries.
Wow.
Work, home.
Yeah.
Personal, private, professional. boundaries is a huge problem for many people. Yeah, and working, I remember a mum telling me he was working from his kitchen table, and he'd finished the day at 5 p.m, closed the laptop, and the boys were waiting to be fed in the kitchen. You just think, oh my God, you need a break, you know, a walk or some kind of switch off. You can't. And he said, I just close the laptop and get on with the cooking.
Oh my goodness.
What's head's still exploding with everything. So
it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, I think boundaries, being stuck as well, often being caught in a thinking rut, or too scared to move, too fearful to do anything, just getting stuck, that there's nothing else for me out there. That's quite common as well, especially when we get to a certain age.
Yeah. And that kind of feeling of, oh, it would be amazing, but I couldn't possibly do that. Well, I couldn't do it. Yeah. Someone else could, and they'd be great. I couldn't possibly do that.
That's right.
And it's that self-belief, isn't it?
It is that self-belief.
Gets knocked sometimes.
Yeah. And when we feel like that, we can't see the wood for the trees.
Yeah.
We minimise everything, or don't even notice what we've done. And that's why it's so helpful to talk that with somebody else external.
Yeah, amazing. What do you think is your most rewarding thing about being a coach?
Meeting people like you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I think it is definitely the people and the learning.
Okay.
My personal development is purely selfish like that. It is the development and learning. It really is. Yeah. Obviously, there is a saying, isn't there, that certain career choices, certain jobs attract certain people. Yeah. We don't just.
Yes, yeah.
So I would say a lot of coaches, counsellors and therapists, there's a very good reason why they go into their careers and their jobs. And yes, I'm very, very lucky. I've worked with some amazing people, and the learning just doesn't stop.
And you obviously love it.
Yes.
Like, it just kind of fizzes from you. You can see how passionate you are about it. It's lovely. It's amazing.
Thank you.
So you have worked with Stillbones before, like we said, the confidence training you did for Cambridgeshire. And can you tell us any more about that kind of work and about those workshops that you've done?
Yeah, with Illuminate, we used to work with businesses and other organisations, really focusing in on building self-confidence and raising self-esteem. And that was really successful. And we closed the charity because the whole landscape has changed since we started time ago, years ago. And coaching is common. It's so common. It's everywhere. And also Google. People just Google stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
Exactly. You know, and they've all heard of values. People I work with now go, oh, yes, I've done some work on that. And it's amazing. That has changed. And also in the world of where I work now is mental health, under the umbrella of mental health. Coaching definitely has a place. Whereas when we started 15 years ago, it didn't. It was very unusual. And that's what we try to really break in and say, not everybody needs counselling or therapy. And we were right, because we survived that 15 years. And now I'm bringing it into Lifecraft, where we're delivering, I deliver coaching programs where it's a day's training and 4 sessions of one-to-one coaching, which really helps people, because many people, it is that confidence wobble and that raising self-esteem.
Yeah. And I know that you've got the capacity to do that again, maybe to help Stillbones in Peterborough.
Yeah.
And you know, that local area. If people need anything like that, they can get in touch.
We have a brilliant offer. Thank you for raising that, Vicki. With Lifecraft, we are Lifecraft Cambridgeshire and Peterborough. So part of my role is to take training into Peterborough. Yeah. So I'd love to work with, is it John who's
doing all the events
in Peterborough. I've also worked with a couple of other charities there, Extended Hands, and I'm also going out to Family Choice, I think they are.
Wow.
So yes, Peterborough's offer there.
Yeah, that's great. So how have you overcome challenges yourself? Have you been able to use some of the things that you've learned as a coach to help you personally as well?
Yes, there is personal development for myself and professional development. However, the challenge I cope myself is I have a supervisor. I've also made lots of use of coaches over the years.
Okay.
been well worth it.
Yeah.
Well worth it. And supervision is really, really important. So I can go in confidence to somebody and say, oh, working with so many clients, this is coming up. What do I do? Or I'm stuck here, or we just go round and round. That's really, really helpful.
Yeah.
Also, learning and knowing when to switch off. Really important.
It's going back to boundaries again, isn't it?
Yeah. So saying at the weekend, I am not going to, even though, because part of me is self-employed and always will be, there's always that enjoyment. I love it. So I always say, oh, Friday morning, this is not work. It's because I love it, but it is work. So I have to know when to stop and switch off. And also surrounding yourself with good people, which sounds really corny and very glib, but I don't mean that. I mean, as you grow older and know yourself better, you know the people you're comfortable with, and you can have that mutual support. And they say like attracts like, doesn't it? We have friends come and go as you grow through life.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And it's having that bit of support, isn't it? And that those people that you can go to and say, do you know what, today is really rubbish, and can I just offload, or can you tell me what you think about this? And it just gives another perspective, doesn't it?
It does. And also, I think, like most people, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Really hard to actually say, instead of, I'm fine.
Yeah.
How are you? Don't use the word I'm fine. It's really hard to go, actually, I'm struggling. I find this really boring, or I'm finding I'm overwhelmed. That's another, totally overwhelmed. Very common. I hear people talk about, use that word. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that goes for everything, doesn't it? Whether it's in business or your work life or home life, it can be, things are tough at the minute.
They are. And that's why you really, for all of us, including us, is know the symptoms. Is that the wrong word? The symptoms, the signs that you're stressed and that it is starting to become overwhelming. Loss of sleep, waking up in the night at 2 and going, oh my God, I should have sent that email. You know, all those little symptoms, or missing a breakfast, missing a meal. Whoa, let's go back to basics. What's happening here?
Yeah, amazing. So I know, you know, working with steel bones, amputation is a huge life-changing event for people. Have you got any top tips for people going through something like that, of how to, I don't know, either navigate it or ground themselves again, or how, anything you can advise?
I wouldn't presume, because I've never been through it, but I do work with a lot of people who have been through a lot of stuff, and trauma comes up quite a bit. I would say that in a life-changing event of any kind, there will be some kind of grief and bereavement, sense of loss, anger, and anger is often underplayed or not seen. It's like we don't talk about it a lot, anger, and I think that's a shame. I think we need to get in touch with that anger, resentment. I would say that it does take time, acceptance, kindness, and anything that makes it easy, as in being easy on oneself, gentleness.
Yeah,
you
being
know,
kind to yourself.
Yeah. Let's go easy. Stop being so hard and critical. And of course, more importantly, reaching out to people like yourself, Steel Bones.
Yeah, finding the external help.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And saying, have you been through this? Or finding people that have been through it is really, really important. There's people for different times as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know through Steel Bones, a lot of people are very lucky to have that close-knit support network, whether it's friends or family or work colleagues, whatever. Not everyone does have that. So if you are struggling and you haven't got someone to reach out to, organisations like Steel Bones, they're a great resource. You can just ring up and have a moan down the phone.
So what happens if somebody's in hospital and they've had an amputation? Does Steel Bones reach out to them, or do they? Well, how do you?
So we're in a lot of the hospitals and the wards and things, and after an amputation, information is given to the patient by the nurses, by the physios, occupational therapists, you know, and we are in that information. That's part of our plan, is just to get everywhere. So there's a lot of hospitals at the moment where, you know, posters are up and people can see it in the clinic, and, you know.
So Steel Bones working nationally or locally?
Nationally. Yeah. yeah, we're covering everywhere at the minute, which is amazing. It's great, and it's growing. You know, there's lots of more people joining us every month and registering with us. And like you say, it's that peer support. You know, they know if they come to an event, they'll see lots of other amputees at different stages in that journey. So, you know, for me, who I've been an amputee just forever, I can say, oh yeah, no, I remember that. That was really rubbish. Or have you tried this? You know, or they might find someone might come to an event that they meet someone else who's right at the beginning, they've just had an amputation and they are panicking or worrying, and they can say, oh no, that was me 6 months ago. Trust me, don't worry.
Yeah.
And actually it gives us that feeling of, oh, we're helping.
Yes.
Like we're not useless now. And it's that kind of it
works both ways.
It's lovely, yeah. It's
doesn't
really
it?
nice.
It works both ways. I can
it's
see
really
that.
great.
That's amazing. National.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're everywhere. We're taking over, Maria.
God.
I love it.
Yeah.
So what kind of advice would you give to someone who would like to speak to a coach, or someone just to kind of, you know, give them some pointers or point them in the right direction, but they are nervous about it, they're worried, they don't know how to go about it? What would you say to them?
I would say, which don't underestimate this, is to write the questions down. Prepare, write it down. I remember actually Steel Bones did a session on this, didn't they, around hospital appointments and talking to professionals. It's so intimidating, and you've been waiting so long to get it all out, and then that person is either on their laptop going, sorry, what? Or time's up, you're out.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Or you get really flustered and then you come out and you go, oh, I didn't ask about, I really needed to know about whatever it is, and you forget. So I think whatever. Exactly.
Write it down is really important, and take someone with you. And if you don't have someone, you need to find somebody. An advocate or friend, or does Steel Bones offer some?
We can do. It's kind of done by a case by case. You know, we look at it that way. But if if there isn't anyone else, then we can absolutely. We've been to appointments with people before and things like that. So, we can do if people need it.
I think it's so important, because you need that when it's all on you and the adrenaline is pumping. You cannot have your brain just can't do it. Absolutely. It takes training. That special services do that kind of thing. Your adrenaline's pumping, listening, taking it all in. You need that other person to be hearing it as well. So you have
absolutely. And I, from my own personal experience, if it's a difficult appointment, whether you feel you're not being listened to, or they're not doing what you think you were going to do, or anything like that, the frustration of that then makes it difficult to speak. And a lot of the time for me, which makes me even more frustrated, it will come out and I'll just cry because I don't know how to get it. And then of course everyone's like, oh, don't be upset. I was like, I'm not upset, I'm just trying to get across what I want to say or what to happen. So having that backup is really important, I think.
And when you're in that sort of turmoil, you're trying to formulate words and questions, so you're not listening.
Exactly.
As soon as that happens, you can't hear. So having that second person is really important. Writing it down. An advocate, Steel Bones. You need the second person in that appointment.
Fab. Any particular success stories you can share with us?
Depends how you define success. Because it has been a long road, a long journey, and there's been amazing stories, amazing people I've met. And the best bit I do love, which isn't stereotypically successful, is when you meet people years later who will go, oh, I remember you. Thank you so much. You said this. Somebody once came to me and said, I remember you. You said there's no easy answers. And I went, did I? I couldn't even remember. But she said that was just, it's that stable. You know, that is so sweet and so moving. I think, oh my God, little just questions or words that stay with people. And of course, there are bigger successes, people who got the job. Wow, that's not me, that's them, you know. But it's nice to have that feedback and know.
Absolutely.
People that can, I don't know, manage better. And in my current role, which at LifeProf, doing the coaching programs, people at the end of the 4 sessions who feel clearer, better, not so overwhelmed, who can go and make that call or make that appointment. That's success. That's
absolutely
rewarding.
And like you say, it doesn't have to be the huge things, does it? It could just be they're in a situation that they dealt with differently than they would before.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. We do say that in Still Bones, that some people, it's amazing to see. I see it quite a lot on social media, and there's amputees or celebrity amputees or people with a big following, they're running marathons and they're climbing mountains and they're doing these huge challenges, which is incredible and amazing for them. But actually, it's those other people that they've managed to walk to the shop today, or they got upstairs to their bed instead of having to sleep downstairs. It's those little things as well. They're all successes.
We've got our own little Everest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's true, isn't it? And it's really important to remember that and try not to compare what you're doing or what you want to get to someone else.
That's so true. When people start that comparison, that ends in one
it's
way.
A bit of a nightmare.
You feel rubbish. That's the only way that can end. You've got to snap that thought.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You can't compare.
I remember talking to someone, I think it was one of our coffee meetups, and they were saying, but I'm not walking, and I wanted to do this and I wanted to do that, and you walk really well. And I said, but I've been walking for 40 years on my prosthetic. You've been a year, if that. You can't compare it. They're so different.
Good.
So it's a biggie, isn't it? A comparison. It's really tricky to not get sucked into it.
Yeah,
absolutely. And just for one last question, because we've been asking everyone that comes on the podcast, what's one thing you're grateful for today?
I'm alive. I am alive.
Thank goodness.
I survived the 70s. 70s dentistry, that's another thing. Oh my God. Dentistry today is amazing. I survived 70s dentistry. I'm still getting work. Anyway, I'm alive. I'm getting to that age where people are. Well, I've had a friend a couple of months ago who died. Well, I suppose it happens throughout life, but I just think, I'm so grateful I'm alive, and I've got healthcare. In theory, healthcare and dentistry of 2024 is amazing.
That's great. Thank you so much for coming on our podcast and talking to me.
Thank you for your really interesting questions. I've loved it.
And hopefully lots more people will meet you with your work in Peterborough. We'll, make sure everyone remembers that you're there and can come and talk to you.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that kind of project.
Yeah.
Does it have to be with businesses or individuals can come to you? Can they?
Right on the with Lifecraft.
Yeah.
So Lifecraft, the coaching program, I deliver it 4 times a year. The next one is in August. That is open to anyone who is got mental health issues, mental health challenges, up and down, low confidence. Welcome to come on. With the training, the free, fully funded training we're doing, it's a half-day workshop I'm offering, and it can be for organisations, for their volunteers, their staff, or themselves, the staff. And really, the focus has to be around good mental health. So how all the topics we've talked about will come up.
And that's so important, isn't it? Good mental health, just to keep yourself on a steady and
especially small organisations. I think funding's really, really tough at the moment, and we need to look after ourselves and staff.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking. I think we could probably keep talking, but I'll have to let you get on with your day. Thank you so much, Maria.
Thank you.
We are Still Bones, a charity serving the limb difference community in the UK. Our mission is to empower amputees and their families to live life to the fullest. It is completely free to join us, and you can register at stillbones.co.uk at the big blue button register at the bottom, and you can also ring us on 03333 606 930. We hope you enjoy listening to the podcast today, and we look forward to speaking to you soon.